Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us for episode 100. Subscribe, follow. We appreciate the support. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thanks too. Thanks for listening to us. 100 episodes. Fantastic. You can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course as well, Reddit. So check us out on there. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast provider.
Let's get right into it. We're going to go into CFL regular season coming up. Bombers ready to go. We're going to be there Friday. IJ Field. This is starting off really well. Already one unforced error. Horrible. IG Field. Quickly, let's talk about the preseason game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They need to calm down, by the way. They're online. We went undefeated in the preseason. Like, calm down. They're just happy to win an IG Field.
Everyone's ragging on them. Everyone's expecting them to do terrible this season. So, hey, if this is their Grey Cup preseason, go for it, I guess.
Yeah, Trevor Harris just went nuts, 4 for 4. He's going to win MOP for sure.
Looking solid.
Let's see. Let's talk about the game. A couple good things, maybe a bad thing. I'll lead off this time around, and I'll state the obvious that the QB3, he's crazy.
Yes.
Just the speed that he has. He shows he has arm talent, that he can do long drives. I'm impressed with Tyrell Pigram. Like, who isn't?
Yeah, and I would put him on my list too of good things as well. And I'm excited to see what they can do with this guy in a game on short yardage. They can throw him in there. They could probably leave him even after maybe making that second or third and short. Keep him in for a first down play. And see what he can do, a la Stravler kind of thing, right? So, yeah. And he's got the wheels, so deceptive speed, and he can take off and run. So there's a lot they can do with him. I'm excited.
Yeah, and if things are kind of like, chugging along, things aren't moving, you can throw him in. Maybe there's like not a wildcat thing going on. I don't know, but it's very interesting what you can do with him. And also just people in Bomber Nation wanting this guy to be the number 2 quarterback. Just slow down.
Yeah.
Like, this is preseason. We saw what Drew Brown could do. Like, he didn't have a good O-line. I'd say good O-line. He didn't have his full O-line around him and offensive starters. He won a game against Ottawa last year. He played dang good against a BC team playing for home field. So Drew Brown's still number 2 for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And if you want to talk about a bad thing from this past game, I kind of lumped Drew Brown in there. But like you say, he didn't have he doesn't have the starting O-line, which he would have in a regular season game, right? Yeah. So he was running for his life. Saskatchewan was playing a lot of their starters on D, so they were getting their pressure. And Drew Brown he struggled to really get anything going. So to me, that's a bit of a question mark. But yeah, I still fully endorse him as their number 2, just based off what he did last year, for sure.
Yeah,
I would not toss him away or go with the inexperience of Pigram. Like you say, it's exhibition, right?
Yeah,
let's get excited about the guy, but let's not think he's the second coming of the greatest quarterback ever.
Slow down.
Exactly.
Slow down. Yeah. Remember, Drew Brown knows his playbook very well.
Exactly. Yes.
He's very comfortable, and he's proven that against good defenses. Ottawa's had a good defense. Did they lead the league in sacks last year?
Yeah.
And they started a heck of good against Winnipeg with a lot of sacks.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's slow down. Drew Brown's number 2.
Exactly.
But I love the enthusiasm about Pigram, and I love the conversations online, so keep those going. Another exciting thing for me was watching that Matt Cole. I think he's starting the season on the practice roster, but the way he returned kicks,
yeah.
Janarin Grant's a man, but still, wow.
It gives you that other option there if Grant, for anything, knock on wood here, gets hurt or anything like that. You got another option, which the Bombers didn't have really last year, to fill in for Grant if he missed any time. So I like that. He looked exciting. A couple good returns. One got called back with penalty, but it's looking good there.
With a guy like that, it's like, though, he has enough on tape where if a team is struggling on special teams, they'll pluck him off a practice roster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of options there. So I like the play also from last game from Carlton Agudosi, especially with Lawler not going to be available for the next few weeks. He stepped up and showed that he can maybe, step in there and kind of fill a bit of that void along with all the other receivers together to fill in while Lawler's gone. So I like the play from him in his second year.
That's a big target.
Yes. Oh, that's the thing.
A big athletic target. Wow. One thing that annoys me, and it's not necessarily Bomber targeted is the lack of statistics. Like, if I want to look back on this game, you can't go on the CFL site. There's nothing there. You have to go on an off CFL site to find these statistics that aren't fully there. That's just really annoying. Like, come on. I want to be a champion of this game, but it's so frustrating when you get Bush League stuff like this.
Yeah, you can find it on TSN, and for me, I use the Sportsnet app as well on my phone, and there's no stats throughout the game, kind of thing. But for NFL, they would clearly have every single stat, even in the third, fourth useless, NFL preseason game. There's every stat there, and it's just like, come on, man, why can't you do this for the CFL as well? How hard is it?
Yeah, why don't CFL preseason games register on Google? Like, when I go Bomber schedule or CFL schedule, sometimes it's not even there. It's like, why?
Yeah, you would think that's an easy thing to do for the CFL, right? At least TSN showed the Bomber game.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Any other goods, encouraging things that you're concerned about from that preseason game?
No, again, the run defense gave up a lot of yards. But again, they were missing a bunch of starters. It's still preseason, so I'm not gonna be too concerned about that unless Hamilton comes in on Friday and tears it up, kind of thing. But for right now, I'm glad preseason's done. Let's get into the regular season. It's June. Let's go.
So then let's go. Let's talk about the regular season. Going into the game against Hamilton, they're going to have a different kicker this year. For sure. We knew they have a different place kicker without a doubt, but confirmed Leggio is gone. Thoughts on that?
Surprised, but not surprised at the same time. They're going with Australian Jamison Sheehan, who won the punting job. So Castillo doing the field goals. I thought Leggio would be the guy, just with his as a punter, just with his experience. He actually didn't do terribly last season while he was doing it, so I expected him to be there. But I'm not surprised. Sheehan outkicked him in the games.
Yeah, and Leggio very much can be a Hiralahu, or even like Rene Paredes is on the Bomber roster before, yeah. And not like he didn't get the opportunity. I could be very wrong, and I apologize. But any which way, we've had kickers that have gone on to better things, and we have Castillo, and maybe that'll save you $10,000, $20,000, and that's huge later on in the season. Injury, if you need to sign someone, So when it comes down to it, it's probably a cap move because Leggio is a pretty good punter. He out-punted the other guys, not considerably better, but he did. So yeah, I was cheering for him, but I understand.
He was a good punter, not great on kickoff. So we'll see if Sheehan is better at that as well. If he's better at kickoffs, and that would, they were close in punts, right? Kickoffs, I'm not totally sure, but there would be, it gives you an edge if you can punt that ball closer to the end zone. Leggio always struggled to get it closer there. So where does he end up? Does he stick around in the CFL, Leggio, or what? Edmonton's still kind of up in the air with their kicker. So
yeah, someone's gonna get not hurt. Someone's gonna struggle. And he is there. He has experience, and that's and this is another chance.
Saskatchewan guy there, Brett Lawler, did not look good kicking. So
no, he missed like 4 kicks, 4 kicks.
He missed a lot. It seemed like. So Leggio will be back, I think.
I'm cheering for him, but I'm very confident in the kicking situation.
Yeah.
Is Castillo not doing place kicking after? Kickoffs,
kickoffs? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember him doing it in the exhibition game, and they didn't really talk about him too much doing that. So
darn, I'm in Winnipeg, and I just tried to catch a mosquito in screens just so y'all don't think I'm crazy. Lawler is out. We're not going to go harp on this. It's a tough situation for the Bombers, and we're just going to more look at what this means for the receiving core. And it means a lot. You're not as dynamic, but like you talked about with Agudosi, he looked good. He's a big target. He's a big athletic target. Not saying that he's going to match the production of what Lawler can do and the comfortable or the chemistry that Lawler and Collaros had, but they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay with the receiving core that they have.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts losing the guy, especially to start the season off. But Bombers have tons of options there. Bringing Bailey back now looks huge, even bigger than what it was, right? Because you're losing Lawler for maybe 3 to 4 games. Hopefully that's it. Yeah. But you're bringing back pretty much everyone from last year, and they had a pretty successful season last year. I'm excited to see what Dalton Schoen can do in his second season. Plus, you still got Greg McRae on the practice roster. Now you've added Amari Jones and Jeremy Murphy. who are also on the practice squad and could be used if they need it, right, for this kind of stuff. So I'm not too concerned. I don't think it'll hurt too much. I mean, obviously, I'd rather have Lawler in that lineup and see what they can do together. But
Totally.
I like all the depth that they have. And we kind of talked about it before, going, if a guy gets injured in this corp, will they be okay? And it looks like we'll find out, but I think they would be okay. So.
I want to see if they still play. I hope it doesn't limit them to trying 5 receiver sets, because that means Orange O'Leary would get a shot, and I'd like to see him get some action too, because he looked pretty good in the preseason. He looks like he's ready to play, especially in the middle of the field. He's not scared.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. They could put a bunch of guys still out there, and I don't know. I don't think they'll miss too much of a beat.
So let's go to week 1 matchup against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We're going to look position by position, like they have on the thing, a graph on TSN, quarterback, right? Who gets a check mark here? So let's go quarterbacks first. Caleros, Mitchell, 2 future Hall of Famers going at it. Who do you think wins that matchup?
I'm going to give the edge right now to Zach Collaros on this one, just because we've seen over these 2 guys over the last few seasons, right? Absolutely. Whereas Bo Levi was on a downward spiral, Collaros is on the upward, right? And now Bo Levi's going to a new team. He's got new receivers, new O-line. Everything's new to him, so it'll take some time to gel. Collaros, he's in a familiar situation. Really, nothing's changed on his offense, at all, really. So I expect Collaros to be the better, so I give him the edge.
Absolutely. Like, he's used to the weapons that he has. There's a chemistry there. I think Caleros, Bo Levi Mitchell will be amazing come the end of the year, come mid-year, come a couple weeks. I think he'll be very good. But in this week 1, I think Caleros has the advantage, and the O-line just gels. They know each other, and they're at home.
Yeah,
they got the noise. They got the loudest fans in the CFL, so I think that'll be a factor as well. They're gonna be excited.
Yes, it will be.
I'm gonna be excited because I'm gonna be there. Running backs. It's good to see that Brady Oliveira is not on the injury report, so it looks like he's good to go. But as running backs, I'm going to go with James Butler. He's a legit dual threat running back. He's a workhorse back. They'll probably lean on to get Bo Levi Mitchell in. He's a guy who can put up 200 yards and multiple touchdowns in a game. So I'm just going to go advantage Butler in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I got to go Butler as well. Just because Oliveira has not practiced too much, hasn't played too much, obviously because of the injury so far this preseason. So I think it's going to take him some time to get going and get those wheels going. But I'll give the slight edge to Butler to start the season off.
Checkmark Butler both ways. Bombers receivers. Who do you got there on the advantage?
I'm going to give the Bombers the advantage on this one. For me, Hamilton, yes, they got some good receivers there with Tim White. To me, though, Duke Williams, is he the old of Duke Williams, or is he the Duke Williams of the last couple seasons kind of thing? So I like the Bombers, the depth they have. They can go to anybody there, not rely on just one guy, whereas Hamilton may focus on Tim White being that guy. So I'll give the edge to the Bombers on this one.
Yeah, Tim White's good. Duke Williams, I think, will be better in Hamilton. There's more weapons there. And they have that Kid 80 and Keandre Smith that might, have a breakout year, or at least take a next step to be like a 500, 600-yard receiver consistently. But their depth just doesn't add up to the Bombers' depth. Dembski, Wolatarski, Bailey. We've named them multiple times for the past couple weeks. And not just depth, but really good depth.
Yeah.
Talented depth that, Caleros is comfortable with. So I'm going to go Bombers receivers advantage all day long.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to go again, advantage Bombers on this one. They know each other. Quality O-line. Hamilton picked up Figueroa. They still have Ravenberg and Van Zyl in Hamilton, but the Bomber O-line, they're proven they're better, or they should be better than last year because, they should know each other's play. They should have that chemistry going.
Yeah, early season. For sure, I'm going with the Bombers O-line in this, just because, they've played together. You got the same 5 guys back to. I know Kolonkowski wasn't the center in the Grey Cup game, but he would play a lot of the season at center for them. So it's the same 5 guys, and even if Liam Dobson had to come in there, I think he would, fill in pretty well also. So I'm going to give the edge to that. Hamilton did, get Joel Figueroa, but they also lost Colin Kelly. So we'll see. I think they'll take a bit. They weren't great, that old line last year for Hamilton, Dane Evans, and maybe it was David Evans' fault, who knows, but it wasn't great. So I'm going to give it to the Bombers the edge, at least to start the season. Probably for the whole season here, really, with this whole line, if we can stay healthy for the Bombers.
Yeah, don't forget Schiltz. Had the same Schiltz.
Yeah, he had the same problems, I guess, for the most part. Yeah, Schiltz. Yeah,
I had the same problem last year that I couldn't pronounce his name. Oh my goodness! Let's talk about D-line. Who do you think has the advantage there?
I hate to say it, but I'm going to kind of give it to Hamilton right now. I don't know where Jeffcoat is. I don't know how healthy he is, or this is more precautions, right? Plus, we got a question mark in that other spot. Who's going to be, Ricky Waters or Cam Lawson? We know what Jake Thomas can do. We know what Willie Jefferson can obviously do. He can be a force out there. But that Hamilton D line, it beefed up. Jagarrett Davis is back. They took Casey Sales, Kawaki Boateng, and then Jonathan Congo is there now, right? I don't know if he'll play on this Friday game, but yeah, it's going to be a tough beat, and it could give the Bombers O-line fits, this early in the season.
They will give the Bombers O-line fits.
Yeah.
And they still have a guy named Ted Laurent that you can put in there.
Oh, yeah. Totally forgot to mention his name.
And they had a guy who put 7 sacks, Malik Carney, on there. Yeah. So they are loaded on, and we'll come to secondary in a second, but the inexperience of their secondary, I think it's fine with that amount of talent on the defensive line. Not that Winnipeg doesn't have talent. They have Jefferson, Jeff Coat, but they ranked 8th in sacks last year because of probably missing Jeff Coat.
Yeah.
For a good chunk of the season. He needs to be healthy.
And we talk about depth at Bombers wide receiver. Like, this D-line for Hamilton has depth, right? They can rotate guys in and out, where it's going to be Willie Jefferson, Jeff Coat pretty much for the whole game. These guys can rotate quite a bit.
They're going to be fresh.
Oh,
my goodness. And you say that, Kongbo is joining them.
Yeah.
That makes it even less likely that the Bombers will get Ted Laurent, Lemonade.
Yeah. We need him now at this point.
Oh, my goodness. So, advantage Hamilton. I absolutely agree with you there. Linebackers, I'm going to go Hamilton again. Yes, Winnipeg has talent. Adam Bighill, one of the best middle linebackers there are in the league. So I'm not debating that, but when you have Simone Lawrence and you bring in Jameer Thurman, that's probably the best linebacking duo in the league.
Yeah.
So not taking away from the Bombers, they have depth. They have Kyrie Wilson, they have Malik Clements, but I'm going to go linebackers with Hammy in this one.
Yeah, so it looks like Kyrie Wilson's out. Like, is he on a 6-game injured or what or something? Because he's definitely not playing on Friday, or no?
So you got Malik Clements, who's also proven from last year. He played great last year. So I don't think that's a drop-off. He knows the system, but I don't know if that matches up well.
No, and who's the third guy going to be if not Shane Gauthier for now, or your guy from last week, Brian Cole, right? Was it Brian Cole?
Yeah, he played well.
Who's still fresh. I'm going to have to give it to Hamilton as well, just because of Lawrence and Thurman. I think Bighill is obviously a great player and one of the best in the league, but having Simone Lawrence there and Thurman will cause some havoc for that Hamilton linebacker core. So I'm going to have to give the check to the linebacker core at Hamilton.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get the rushing game going.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
DBs, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm going to give the edge to the Bombers on this one. It's another position on their team where they have a lot of guys who have experience because of all the injuries they had last year. A bunch of guys came in. Plus, you got Brandon Alexander, Dietrich Nichols back there as well, compared to, Hamilton with some fresh, some guys that have been there for a while but haven't totally shone in the league kind of thing. They're good bit players or good players, but not, to the level I think some of these guys for the Bombers have. But of course, Kande Adeleke is great back there for Hamilton, and he's shown he can get it done. So, but I like the Bombers on this. I like the fact that they have a lot of guys to choose from and can go which direction, even with Winston Rose and Jamal Parker out with an injury.
Yeah, I think the Bombers have the advantage on this because of coaching. When you have Jordan Younger and you have Richie Hall, two great defensive backs in their own right when they played, and they're just coaching up these guys. And that's not to say that they have the unit ready from day one, because there is mentioned in the last game that they're not necessarily looking for the best players. They're looking for the players who play best with each other. They're looking for the best secondary unit. So I think that kind of means that it's still in play. It's still fluid.
Yeah.
Of course, with someone like Winston Rose on the there. But I think with that experience and with that coaching, the advantage does go to the Bombers.
Yep.
Special teams? Go ahead.
I'm going to give it to Winnipeg just with Castillo. I guess the punter is a question mark. We'll see him in a live game for sure what he can do. But I'll give the edge right now to Winnipeg on that just because of Castillo.
Yeah, that's the kicker in Hamilton. Seth, he had a really good year. He's like over 90%. And he came like what, 10 games into the season, 11 games into the season. So I think the kicking advantage goes to them. I think the returning advantage goes to Janarian Grant. I think that's going to be a big year for him. Special teams player of the year for sure. I think he'll bring a couple back. He's just coming in with confidence. He's going to be fresh. So I'll go advantage Winnipeg with punting being the wild card.
Yes.
So who wins this? We'll see. We'll see. Who wins this game?
You know what? It's going to come down to the O-line versus D-line, especially the Bombers O-line versus the Hamilton D-line for me. If Winnipeg can weather the storm, and I think Winnipeg gets the edge just because the team is pretty much the same, whereas Hamilton are going to take some time to gel and bring all these pieces together. Even their D, it's a lot of new guys on D, so we'll see. I'm going to give Winnipeg the win in this one. Being at home, Hamilton, new faces, and just Winnipeg being pretty much the same team, I think they'll have that edge to win this first game of the season.
Yeah. I'm going back and forth on this one. I am dreading the Bombers facing Butler. He was an issue last year, and I think they'll lean on him this year. But I think the Bombers in a home opener with that crowd, with that we want this season, there kind of seems to be a last dance vibe to this season. So I think this is a game that they'll take at home. And I think it'll be closer than people think it will be.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think this is a blowout in any which way or form. It'll be like last season's home opener where it came down to wire. And last year I expected a blowout against Ottawa, but this one will be close. I think it'll come down to a wire.
So I'm going to take the Bombers on this one. Friends, put your predictions in the comments. Leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. CFL season preview. What do you expect from each team? Where do you see them at the end of the season? Let's go from west to east. So we'll start with the BC Lions. I expect BC to have a very solid season. Vernon Adams will get a chance to shine, and I think he'll step up as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And I see them comfortably being in second place in the West.
Yeah, I agree. Vernon Adams so far has looked pretty good in the preseason. If his play continues into the regular season, I think it'll bode well for BC, obviously. Question mark for me on them is, can they replace Butler? Right now, they got a bunch of no-name guys back there, so we'll see how they can adapt to the game. But I expect them as well to be battling for that second place spot.
What do you think for Edmonton?
Can they break that home losing streak? Taylor Cornelius, he's the guy. Can he take that next step? He's got a lot of new receivers, some good ones in Eugene Lewis, Steve Dunbar, and Kyron Moore. Will they gel right away? I think they could be battling maybe for a crossover spot, but I think they'll still end up missing out on the playoffs.
I think they will continue to go through growing pains. I can see them getting that first win at home on October 14th against the Alouettes.
Yeah.
And they will be in last place. Calgary, I see this team taking a step back. When you lose pieces and the leader like Bo Levi Mitchell and Derek Dennis, I think you're going to have a culture change in there. And I think they'll struggle to find their identity, and they'll have to lean too much on Kadeem Carey. And I'm not a believer in Jake Meyer. So I see them being fourth in the West.
Yeah, to me, Jake Meyer was kind of iffy ending the season, in the playoffs and that, and even in the preseason has not looked great. But I agree, Kadeem Carey will be the guy. They'll have to rely on him quite a bit, and if he can carry that load, they'll have a decent season. Reggie Badgerton and Malik Henry are basically their two main wide receivers and only wide receivers. After that, it's question marks quite a bit right now. So I'll give them benefit of the doubt there because Calgary's been always good at quarterbacks and wide receivers. I expect them though to finish probably third in the West.
What do you got for Saskatchewan?
Is their O-line fixed? Did they do anything there? Otherwise, to me, Harris is going to struggle. If it's the same O-line and the same play as last year, I think they will struggle. And I kind of picking Saskatchewan right now to finish in the rear.
Yeah, I don't see their online being significantly better. And I do feel bad for those in Rider Nation who are translating an undefeated preseason into like playoff glory. But I do think Harris and his demeanor, and with Weineke there, I think it makes him a more reliable offense. He can find holes in defenses, especially against Winnipeg. We have trouble against him when we played against Montreal. So I don't see them being crazy good, but I think they can get third in the West.
Wow, Saskatchewan fans are going to love you.
I know. That'll stop soon, though. The Bombers, I still cream of the crop. Injuries could be an issue if they pile up. It's good to see people coming off of the injured list. But, until anything is proven different, they are the standard. As a Steelers fan, I love to say that. They are the standard. So I think they will be first in the West.
Yeah, I agree there. And that's the thing. Until proven otherwise, they're the cream of the crop. Like you said, no question. We'll see. They're an older team in a lot of positions, and if injuries happen, hopefully they got a younger guy that can step in and fill. But as of right now, they're the team to beat in the West.
How do you see Toronto doing?
Chad Kelly, man, is he going to be the guy? Is he going to step up? He played a good preseason game, the second one, so his elbow injury wasn't too bad there. But it all depends on him. Toronto's got a fairly, they got changes obviously, but they got quite the same team from last season, which was a bit up and down last year. So I still be battling for the first spot between them and Hamilton, battling for first and second in that division. So
decent defense, inconsistent QBing, especially at the start of the season. The weaker East will allow them to compete. Chad Kelly package all year long. I'm looking, but I see them getting about third. I see him getting third in the East. Hamilton, I think they will be the class of the East. They will have this division wrapped up probably just after Labor Day. So yeah, first in the East for me, Hamilton.
Yeah, I see Hamilton battling with Toronto for first. We'll see how Bo Levi is. If Bo Levi gets back to form of earlier Calgary days, or even the last few years Calgary days, then yeah, they'll be a formidable. But if he's the guy from last season and the season before that, I think Hamilton, while they'll still do well in this East Division with James Butler and a lot of other, great defense kind of thing. But for me, it depends. Again, Chad Kelly, Bo Levi, which one is going to take off this year or play better, right? That to me wins the division.
How about Ottawa?
Just the question marks kind of scare me right now, right? Jeremiah Mazzoli, is he back? Is he ready to play week one? He hasn't played yet. So we'll see, right? Otherwise, you're relying on Nick Arbuckle, to keep you afloat. And we've seen what he can do for the last few years. Plus, they've lost Money Hunter and Shaq Evans, right? They're both going to miss some time, and those are some very good players. So O-line should be solid. Bobby Dice, first year coaching. I expect third year finish for Ottawa and battling with the West team for that crossover, but ultimately winning out.
I think Mazzoli's healthy, and I think he is. I think the delayed announcement is just good old strategy. You got to remember that Bobby Dice coached under Dave Ritchie. He's not going to let a lot out of the bag. I think it's brilliant not to say who's your starting quarterback. I think it will be Mazzoli. I think he's good to go. And I think if they keep him healthy, I think they can get second in the East. If he's healthy, I think they have the defense. They had the best pass rush in the league last year, I believe. So yeah.
And very good O-line too last year. Right. Yeah, and now they added Jajarlis, so.
And if Arbuckle has to play, I think they'll be steady too. I think it's really encouraging to see what he did in the preseason. So I got Ottawa in second, and I got lots of love for Bobby Dice. So Montreal, such a mess before Pierre Pelado, Quebecor, took over. I can't wait to see what they do to reestablish the energy in that stadium. But they're going to be last. They're going to be last.
Yeah, it's too bad that they couldn't build off of last season and get the fans, back and more involved and get it going this year. I think, like you say, yeah, I agree. Last place for them as well. too many question marks. Plus, you're bringing in Jason Moss and Cody Fajardo, who weren't great in Saskatchewan together last year, and now they're going to be your saviors. Plus, they lost all their wide receivers, Eugene Lewis and all that. You're going to have to rely on William Stanback to carry the load quite a bit here. So, last place, hopefully it's just a building season for them, and they can start building again and take off again next year.
Yeah, people talk about how Toronto and Vancouver are necessary marketing to CFL. Montreal is a necessary market. That's a world-class city. You know, if you have an excitement in that stadium, they have enough tourists to bring people into the environment and enjoy it. So why not? I'm cheering for them. But still, they'll be last. Who is making the playoffs? Who's going to be in the Grey Cup? And who is going to hoist the cup at the end of the year? Early predictions. Let's start in the West. Who do you see making the playoffs? What's the semifinal matchup? Final matchup? Who wins the West?
Let's go. I'm going Winnipeg, BC, Calgary. Winnipeg, BC in the final. Winnipeg in the Grey Cup.
Ooh, I'm going to go Saskatchewan, BC in the semifinal. BC wins to play Winnipeg in the final. Of course, sorry. My bias slipped out.
Yeah, a little bit.
Winnipeg wins the West final. In the East, I have Toronto, Ottawa in the East semifinal. Ottawa wins. Ottawa, Hamilton in the East. Hamilton first place, obviously, and then Hamilton wins to go to the Grey Cup. Who do you got in the East?
Yeah, I'm I said Hamilton, Toronto battling first and second. Let's. I'm gonna go probably the same as you. Hamilton winning the division. Toronto, Ottawa finishing second and third. Toronto beating Ottawa in the semis, Hamilton beating Toronto in the final. So a Winnipeg Hamilton Grey Cup final as well.
Okay, so then let's talk about Grey Cup. Who got it? Who got the cup?
You know what? Like we said, until proven otherwise, I got to go with Winnipeg. Losing that Grey Cup last year to Toronto, I still feel Winnipeg was a better team, but on that day, Toronto, just made more plays, enough plays. But I think Winnipeg will retone for that, and all these guys that missed out on it last year, they'll take it back this year.
So you're taking Winnipeg?
Winnipeg, yes.
I just want to preface this by saying I have loved the Bombers since, I was born. I was born a Bomber fan. I'm cheering for them wholeheartedly. In my heart, I always think they're going to win the Grey Cup. But in regards to this, man, there's a vibe about Hamilton. There's it's a kind of Ricky Ray vibe when he was in Toronto. It's like that Henry Burris vibe when he was in Ottawa. It's like the Zach Caleros vibe when he was in Winnipeg. They have this older quarterback that they've surrounded with weapons, and they're having the Grey Cup this time again at home.
Yeah.
And if they're going to beat anyone to break that streak, it's going to be the team that's beating them in the Grey Cup like crazy. So for funsies and for analysis, which I am not an analyst, I'm going to take Hamilton to win the Grey Cup against Winnipeg, as much as it hurts my heart, just because I'm going for the storyline. I think if you look at the roster, Winnipeg's still superior, but I'll say Hamilton wins the Grey Cup finally against Winnipeg. Friends, maybe I'm not your friend anymore. Give us your prediction in the comments. Tell me what you think about Benny choosing Winnipeg, me choosing Hamilton. It hurts me to say that, and I'm going to be there cheering against them, but I'm sorry. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, it'll be a tough season all around. I think Hamilton's going to be very good, especially if they gel with all these new pieces, and Bo Levi returns to old Bo Levi. It'll be a good season. I think Hamilton will be good for sure.
Yeah. Stanley Cup. Put your Grey Cup predictions in the comments below. Please, no hate.
Yeah,
and you're going to hate, have fun.
Yeah, and your prediction for this Friday's game, is Winnipeg going to beat Hamilton?
Yes, I think so. And I just think over the year, though, something about Hamilton, they'll gain momentum. Orlando Stanhauer will win his first cup as a head coach.
And the drought, we'll see. It's a long season.
If the Bombers don't win the Grey Cup, don't blame me. It's a football gods. It's their story. They wrote it, not me.
It's in the script.
Exactly. See, I see what you did there. Let's talk about Stanley Cup. I'm going to tell you what I thought before this game going in. Game 2, game 1. Poor Bobrovsky. I thought he was screened. Vegas played well in the third. They got the momentum. They weathered the storm from Florida. And I really thought Florida would bounce back. I really thought Bobrovsky, they cleared the net, but, I took Florida in game 2. That's what I really thought would have happened.
Yeah, one thing Florida was good at in the other series was intimidating the other teams, right? After the whistle, before the whistle, anywhere, right around the net with Bennett, Kachuk, all those guys, just getting into people's faces. The only thing I think that doesn't work well here is because I think Vegas is a bigger team and kind of thrive on that and won't back down from that kind of stuff, right? And Florida was taking tons of penalties, seven penalties, 7 power plays for Vegas in that first game. That's too much. Florida can't do that.
No.
Especially with Vegas power play, which seems to be getting better as the playoffs go on. And to me, they needed to get to Hayden Hill. There was a great stat. Marty Giron said it. It was Hill has only faced 7 high danger chances at 5-on-5 since he started playing. So, Vegas is obviously playing some solid D, and Hayden Hill is getting the job done in what he has to do. So, I expected a bit of a bounce back from Florida as well, but I did expect Vegas to probably take this game as well.
The result is?
It's 5-1 Vegas right now. So Florida has never won a game in Vegas. They're 0-6. And so far have not won a game in the Stanley Cup Finals. But yeah, it's 5-1, 10 minutes left in the third. Bobrovsky chased, left the net after the 4th goal. So Florida's going to need more. They're going to need more from guys not named Kachuk. Barkov or Hagee are going to have to get it going and help out here.
That was a crazy hit. We just saw that online.
Yeah, on Jack Eichel. Yeah, clean hit.
But
no problem.
By the time you hear this, folks, my goodness, you'll know about that hit. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully Eichel's okay. That could change up a series if Eichel can't come back.
Yeah.
But Vegas do have a lot of depth there, so.
Let's go into hot topics. Of the 7 teams mentioned in the Daily Face-Off article by Matt Larkin, good article, check it out. Which team is the best trading partner for the Winnipeg Jets in regards to Connor Hellebuyck? You can go first.
I'm going to go with Carolina. And not necessarily because Carolina need a goalie, because they didn't lose all in the playoffs because of goaltending, but I like it better for the Jets and the options that they have. Carolina has a lot of good young guys and playing in the NHL currently, and a good lot of prospects as well coming up. If you can somehow snag a piece like Martin Necas, who's 24 years old, plays center, actually, he's been playing on the wing in Carolina, plays center, still a restricted free agent. That would be a great find. Even if you want on D and you got Brett Pesce, another shutdown D, that would be awesome. Or even Seth Jarvis out of there, right? So to me, Carolina for the Jets would be the best option.
I'm going to go with Ottawa because they have a couple young players that I would like to see. I like the sound of this Ridley Gregg two-way player, a two-way center who the Jets would desperately need, especially if they're looking to move someone like PLD. And actually, they can maybe have a shot of the Winnipeg Ice player, Zach Ostapchuk. I'll say that slow because I'm going to mess it up. In 55 games, he put up 67 points as a winger. Split time this year between Vancouver and the Winnipeg Ice. But hey, he's familiar with Winnipeg, and it'd be great to have a young player like that as well. So I'll go with Ottawa. Babcock hired in Columbus. Thoughts?
Jeez, was there no one else that they could hire? Like the retreads in the old boys club in the NHL is crazy, man. Like Columbus to me seems desperate at this point. Like they've struggled to grab a foothold and move beyond their, couple playoff round wins with Dubois a few seasons ago or whatever. But I don't like it. I mean, has Babcock changed? Well, I guess we'll see. But like there have to be other options, man.
You gotta stop hiring these old heads who are all about the retread. You got John Davidson running the team. I'm like, of course, it's garbage. Who should be on the cover of Madden 24? I think it should be Jalen Hurts. Dude's just a player. He had a better game than Mahomes in the Super Bowl, to be honest. And I just think he's the face of the NFL coming up. So I'll go Jalen Hurts.
I'm going to go a different quarterback in the AFC. I'm going to go with Josh Allen. He's had some wicked season. Oh, what? You don't like Josh Allen or what? What?
Overrated.
Oh, boy. Wow. Okay. I'm still going with Josh Allen. If you want to call him overrated or not. He's had some pretty good seasons out in Buffalo. Had the opportunity to be on the cover before. It could have been on the cover before, but it hasn't. So I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm not buying. I don't know why I don't buy into. I do know why I buy into him. I just don't think he can get over the. He's just an athletic quarterback who will do well.
Hey, same with Jalen Hurts. We got to see another season out of Jalen Hurts to see if he can do it again. Only one season so far, man.
You got a brick, and he went to the Super Bowl. It's crazy. You have a
Brickhead? So did Jimmy Garoppolo. So
not because of Garoppolo,
but the Eagles,
despite
it wasn't the Eagles didn't make it just because Jalen Hurts.
But a large reason was
that offense was wicked. So and
the only reason they were in the Super Bowl was because of Jalen Hurts. I know he lost. But it's very. Why are you even comparing Jimmy Garoppolo to Jalen Hurts? I'm not saying
you said you mentioned it. Super Bowl. I said so did Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo. Well,
then you're comparing. Well,
I'm not comparing.
Because you know that's not true. That's not even close. That's
Jimmy
not even close.
Also made it to a Super Bowl and was winning as well, and also lost to Mahomes. So whatever.
Jimmy was also not a primetime quarterback like Jalen Hurts is.
Oh, he wasn't. But
that's like saying Trent Dilfer deserved to be on the cover.
We'll see. I didn't say Jimmy should deserve to be on the cover at all. We'll see if Jalen Hurts can take another step and continue on being a good quarterback after that season.
If Jalen Hurts wasn't in Philadelphia, they wouldn't have made the Super Bowl. If Jimmy Garoppolo,
that D was pretty strong in Philadelphia.
If Jimmy Garoppolo was running the show in Philadelphia, do you think they would have made the Super Bowl?
They wouldn't have been as dynamic, but I mean, Jimmy made it in San Francisco because the D was good.
Right? That wasn't the question. If he was running the show in Philadelphia, do you think they would have made the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they definitely could have.
Oh, I don't believe
they wouldn't have been as good. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is way better, but I'm saying they could have made it with that defense. Just watching Jimmy make it with that D and a run game like he did in San Francisco, why not? The Eagles could have done the same thing. They would have lost. They would have lost the Super Bowl with Jimmy for sure.
Oh. Yeah, they would have not scored a point.
The NFC was fairly weak last year, right? And then Brock Purdy getting hurt in that NFC Championship game just killed San Francisco altogether. So
Philadelphia would not have made the Super Bowl.
They could have. With that NFC of last year, they could have.
Not with Jimmy G.
Oh, they could have.
Do you have a brickhead? You know that's not true. Do you have a brickhead? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No. Expand on that.
No, I'm going to give my brickhead out right now. I'm just going to give it back to Columbus, for the hiring Babcock and keeping the old boys club. I mean, there was no one else that deserved it this week. And you can give it to John Davidson. You can give it to anyone there. Really terrible move.
What a tragedy when people were looking for a culture change in hockey. And
never changes, man. Never changes.
I'm not surprised. I got a shout out. I'm going to go with Teddy Allen of the Winnipeg Sea Bears. He put up a double-double. Do you think someone would ever call that like a Timmy special in the CEBL? Or, a Timmy?
You should contact Tim's and say, hey, this is your option, their opportunity to sponsor this. I don't go corporate. They can do their own jobs at the CEBL, but I'm still going to give a shout out to Teddy Allen. 42 points, 11 reboards against the Scarborough Shooting Stars in CEBL action. So shout out to him. I'm really excited about the Sea Bears. I can't wait to go to a game. Look for our channel for some coverage on that. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends? You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for helping us get to 100 and hopefully to many more. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, check us out, leave a comment, leave a like. Have a good week.
And in the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Denny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.